Good afternoon, chicks and dicks. Whoa. Folks. Original content. Okay, let me get back on track. So, this is kind of just like a free floating idea. I have a couple of things that I've noticed within the Magic the Gathering space, and there has to be some sort of connecting narrative to all of this. That there has to be some play that's obvious, such as, for instance, back in the day where there was stuff like dual lands when the reserve list first dropped. You know, that would have been the go ahead to just go into stuff like that, but you know, no one could really look into the future and realize how much dual lands could go up, but you could have seen the signs. So here I'll get right into it. So first, the idea is with reprints. So reprints have happened a lot in the past, but I believe Magic player base is, with the Commander audience, is higher than it's ever been. Magic's revenue is very high. You just have so many people in the space right now buying. Specifically, I would say Commander singles is the main thing that drives a lot of these prices. But also there is the other formats. But I'm leaning more towards Commander because that is definitely the most played format right now for Magic the Gathering. The idea is there's a lot of reprints right now of Commander staples. The only problem with this is that they do put some of these into Commander decks, which when something goes into a Commander deck, almost always the price is just like boosh, just completely nuked. But some things, for instance, Emeria, the Sky of Ruin, they reprinted this in the Secret Lair Commander deck, the Angels Commander deck. And to be honest, there's not that many printings. So if you go right now on TCG Player, you'll notice that there's maybe a couple, like maybe 30 listings, or it was something low, under $30, $35, and then boom, like it's just goes up to 40 and 50, which the card should still stay at that 30-40 range, because if you look, there's the Theros version, and that would keep the prices a little depressed, you would think. But you do have some odd cards that, like, I don't remember which card it was. I think it was a new Phyrexia card, but there's like the one list version sells for like $10, $20, $30 or something, and the card's like $1 staple or something like that. So I've seen that around. So that Emeria could definitely go into that ballpark, and I'm sure there's a lot of different examples. If you go through all the list cards, of the list version is way more expensive than the versions that you could have got from normal products. And that's maybe because of the TCG Player pricing tool. Maybe it's just because of the supply, because I mean, if you think about it, even if it's a list version, if there's not that many copies, it can be more rare than the non-list version. So that's just one little tidbit of this story. And then there's another tidbit of stuff like for Commander Masters. So Commander Masters was a product engineered to have all Commander staples, Commander playables, Commander staples, things that just got a lot of play, or you could just slot into almost any Commander deck and like it works. The thing about this product was, when a product first drops, even with the Angel deck, initially, because of the glut of supply, there's no way that the entire 2, 3, 4 years worth of demand can be met right on a release day. So you have thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of boxes hitting the market at the same time. The prices are going to go down. Now, it doesn't mean that the boxes are just going to collapse. Like, I don't think, even though Commander Masters did recess a bit, I wouldn't really, personally, I wouldn't call it a collapse, because that's just how it is with the glut. And then quickly after, the prices started to trend upwards. So because of that, I would say whatever price it was at, you know, that just ended up being the price, and from that, prices have trended upwards. So what I want to mention is, because there's so many reprints in this, if you look at the EV of Commander Masters, I think right now you can get like a draft box for like $270, and you can get a set box for like $3 something. I think the EV is like $400 to $500. If it was a set, the set I think is almost $500, and I think the draft is somewhere like $425 if you look at Mox Alpha. The EV is surprisingly high. You could be buying these boxes for market and making money by just opening and selling the singles. You could even make more than that EV if you price them up a little bit. But that takes a bit of know-how and like seller knowledge of what cards and how to price your cards. So even just someone who's just basing it off of whatever Mox Alpha is for the base minimum, you could be profiting from those boxes. But the main thing about this is the fact that the prices, when Commander Masters first dropped, the EV was not this high. But as a year has gone by, as the supply for not only the Commander Masters boxes, but the singles that are in the open market, as that gets eaten up, the EV of these boxes are going very high because it's a Commander product. Commander is the most popular format. So you would think that Commander Masters should be a sleeper product. It's a product that you could buy the draft, you could buy the set, and you can expect these boxes to have an EV of maybe even close to $700, $800, $900 eventually if you give it enough time. We'll see what happens. Obviously, people sometimes when you hear those crazy price predictions, people go, "What? There's no way." But you can just look at all the prices of many of the sealed products or many of the EVs of products recently, and yeah, things are doing well, and things are doing predictably well. Where a lot of these things you actually could have predicted, and just as time unfolds, then the prediction, you still need time to unfold so that the prediction to come true. So I would say Commander Masters is one of those where I think right now you can get a box of that for $300, but give it a couple years and let's see if Commander maintains its spot as the main format of Magic the Gathering. You give it a couple years and Commander Masters is going to be a blowout set. It's going to be something that you're like, why didn't I? It's so obvious. Commander's the most played format. Why didn't I buy more boxes of Commander Masters? So that's one theme, is that the fact that you can see the EV of mostly Commander product, the EV is just going up. It's just going straight up. And if you give it another year, it's going to continue to climb. So you have this phenomenon with the list where you have, cards initially they don't seem rare because the price is low and the market glut. But as time goes on, the supply is eaten away, and you see how few of these cards and singles are actually out there. I would say that's the same with a lot of the list cards, a lot of the secret layer cards, especially these reprints, these one-off reprints. I would say the same with Commander Masters. So I think initially I said, I'm not really sure of the connection. And I think I'm mainly saying that to give some doubt where, people want omnipotence when people make predictions. Where a prediction could have a pretty good likelihood where you could see it and go, yeah, I think that could unfold as well. I subscribe to that idea. And I would say this is one of those types of predictions where I think it's pretty obvious that not only Commander Masters, but many of these cards you could speculate on. You could see a card that's a huge staple. It gets a reprint. The price is bomb. One product I would use is Innistrad Remastered. It had a lot of staples that were reprinted in that, and the prices, sure, when they first come out, it's like you can pick up these singles for so cheap. But give it some time, and boom, the supply's gone, and the price is back to what you would expect. With Commander Masters, you can kind of see that same principle unfold with some of the big staples, stuff like Deadly Rollick. These staples that everyone uses, they're expensive, and when the products first come out, it's like $10 or $20 under the next available single, and then as time goes on, boom, the price either matches or surpasses it depending on the treatment. So I don't really, I don't really have some connecting theme, other like some product that I'm telling you to buy. Maybe Commander Masters. I mean, I would say if you don't have any Commander Masters sealed and you're a Commander player, I mean, I would think that that would just be a fun product to have on your shelf, because you like Commander. You might have more than 3, 4, 5, 6 hand-picked Commander decks. I'm not talking about precons, let alone precons. You might have made decks that are $500, $1,000, and you don't have a single sealed box of Commander Masters. The box that's tailored for the set that you play. Commander Masters, a Masters product that's just chock full of potential staples for this format. So that's how I see it. I think if you're a Commander player and you haven't gotten to the sealed Magic the Gathering game, I think you start with that. But mainly what I'm saying is you've got to spot some opportunities in these markets, and some of these are very obvious. I think these lists, if you go through the list and you look for cards that maybe have just been printed, maybe it's a card that has been seeing play countless decks. Now, just because when it comes out, the price goes down from, like, let's say $10 to $1, just because that happens doesn't mean that it can't quickly, or I say quickly as in, let's say a card goes up from $1 to $2 within a year. That's a 2x return. If you take away fees, let's say it's a 50% return. That's pretty good. You could put in like $200 to something that's going to give you a 50% return and come out with $100 at the end of the year. I mean, if you could do that with your paycheck, you would be doing that every year. You'd be like, okay, let me deposit $20,000, and then by the end of the year you have $30,000. You would love that, but we know that that's not the case. Usually there's savings accounts that give you like 5% right now. I think right now it's actually trailed down to 4% is the easy savings account money, and you still have to do taxes on that, sure. But 50%'s pretty amazing. So I'd like to hear anyone's comments, please poke holes into my theory. Please just, prod around. Let's try to cement this into a working idea. This doesn't have to be the final draft of this type of idea. This could be draft 3, draft 2. So let's refine it. Let's find some direction. And I'll catch you later. Peace.